When we were looking at these exponential expressions, we talked about what makes an exponential expression simplified. That's our goal today. We also talked about what do all of the different types of exponents mean? Do I know how to write everything out in a simplified version? And then we also talked about the exponent of 0, which is another important piece today. You want to make sure that whenever you see the exponent of 0, you know that that individual variable now turns into a 1, and we'll talk about what that looks like today. So let's do some examples down below. Example 1. As I'm writing out these examples, I'll try and take my time writing them out so you can copy them down as well. 5x cubed y squared, all multiplied by 2x cubed y to the 5th. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. For example, I know they're not simplified for a few reasons. I know they're not simplified because I have two different constants and I can only have one constant at a time. I also know that they're not simplified because they're not like combined at all. And I also see some duplicates. I see a duplicate x value and I see a duplicate y value, so those duplicates are causing problems. Before we simplify, we need to put things in expanded form. That might seem silly, but we are going to write this out in expanded form, and it's going to look really long before it looks short. So let's look at see how we do that. You take the 5, if you see a constant, you write that constant down below, you write that 5. If you see x cubed, like we're seeing right here, look above and look at the examples that you've written in your notes here. For example, here you're going to see that it's x to the 4th, and I have 4 x's right there. So if I come down here and it's y to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, I'm going to have 3 x's. Y squared looks like 2 y's. Bring down that 2, because if it's just a constant, you want to bring that down. X cubed looks like 3 x's, y to the 5th looks like 5 y's. That is an expanded form. Does it seem like a lot of work right away? Yes, but I promise you once problems get more difficult and more difficult, it'll be worth it for you to write this out in expanded form. Then we're going to take it one step further and we are going to simplify what we can. We're going to combine like terms. I have a 5 and a 2. And there's teeny tiny invisible multiplication marks in here. We don't write that out because look at how much time I'm wasting by writing all of that out. We don't do that. But you can take the 5 and the 2 and we can multiply in any order. So 5 times 2 is 10. Then I have x times x times x times x times x times x. That's x to the 6th because I can put them in any order and move them around. Y times y. Y times y times y times y times y, y to the 7th. And I go back and I say, is this simplified? Is there only one constant and is it simplified? Yes. Are there x's that are all by themselves? There's no other x? Yes. Is there y? There's no other y's? Yes. So I know that it is simplified. And we're going to do one more example as well. A lot of you always ask me about that little z. I like to put the dash in there, otherwise my z's look like 2's. In this case, we have a whole bunch of stuff all to the power of 3. So that means all of this needs to be written 3 whole times. So we're going to take all of this, I'm going to write in expanded form. All of this needs to be written 3 times. I see a -2, write a -2. See x squared, put 2 x's, because that's x times x. Notice how I'm not putting the little multiplication symbols in there. I could put the little dots or little tiny x's. Please don't. That'll get a little crazy for you. Y to the 4th looks like, y to the 4th looks like 4 y's, and z to the 0. This is a very common mistake students make. They think that if they see z to the 0, the whole thing is 1, but just that little thing is 1. So you could write a 1 there. You could write multiplication by 1. We all know that we don't actually have to write that 1 there because anything multiplied by 1 stays the same, so you don't have to write it. In fact, I probably won't over here. So because I'm writing all of that 3 times, I'm going to do that. There's a -2, 2 x's, 4 y's. And I could put the 1 there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it. -2, 2 x's, 4 y's. And then at this point, we are going to simplify everything we can. There is a -2 times a -2 times a -2. -2 times -2 is a +4, times a -2 is a -8. I have 6 y's, or I'm sorry, 6 x's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's x to the 6th, because x times x times x times x times x times x is x to the 6th. 4 y's, 4 y's, 4 y's is y to the 12th. There's only one constant, and it's simplified, check. There's all of my x's and my y's. There's only one x that's written. Now, of course, there's technically 6 x's all multiplied out, but there's only one x that I can see or visualize. There's only one y. I know that it is simplified.